Start. Hey, it is episode number 6, the Return of the Jedi episode here. I am Kevin Pillow, and welcome to what are we?
Yes.
PS Comics, I Love You, the Untitled, whatever it is. We decided off the air we're sticking to what we know best, and that is don't format us. Just shoot from the hip and just go with it.
Yeah.
Again, I'm Kevin Pillow, the voice of reason. You can find me on all social media accounts at Voice of Reason 23. Somewhere along here is my handle. The man on screen right now to my left, but probably could be to my right when I edit this.
Possibly,
is the Dark King, J.R.
Kabakungan.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And he is at also not JR Comics 42.
42. Yeah.
I got to ask you, the 42 going a little Jackie Robinson or just?
Actually, it's an old thing. 42 is my favorite number, and so 42 in Japanese. This is how weird I was, dude. Like back in high school, 42 in hiragana or katakana is basically like Japanese figures, right? When you put them together, it means death. And so I was a very emo kid back in the day, and so I like 42. So that's my handle for most things. So
well, the 23 for me is my favorite number, and no, it's not. Has nothing to do with Michael Jordan. It actually has a lot to do with a forgotten baseball player. Kirk Gibson played the outfield for the Dodgers. He was the, of course, famous home run in 1988, but just has been a hero of mine. And what irritated me as I've been a fan of the number 23 since, like I said, 1988. And everyone goes, oh, because of Michael Jordan. I'm like, yes, I did wear 23 in basketball. And yes, I did want Michael Jordan to sign my high school basketball picture. But the 23 originated not as a tribute to Michael Jordan, which is funny nowadays. Because for those who don't know, I used to do a high school radio show. A lot of kids that I talked to, didn't matter what sport, a lot of coaches would not let kids choose number 23. You couldn't choose number 1 and you couldn't choose number 23. Doesn't matter if it was baseball because of Michael Jordan, but that was not my origin story for 23. Today's episode, going to go with the good, the bad, and the ugly of comic series. And about once a year, comic books really kind of try to reel you back in with a big epic or a big kind of like a big crossover event or whatnot. Now we of course have seen this in the movies as well. We would see an Iron Man, an Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, those being the little comic book issues. And then we would see the Avengers, or we would see Age of Ultron or Endgame or whatever. And comic books do that. Some of them are good. Some of them are really bad. And some of them are just plain ugly. But that's what we're going to talk about. And in the interest of fairness, and I think that you have a little bit more depth recently with comic book collecting and whatnot, I thought we'd let the big guy, JR, kick things off. And I think we should just get it out of the way, get that bad taste out of our mouth, and go with pick a series that just go, ooh, man, they missed the mark on that one.
Okay.
JR's ooh, I'm up for the challenge.
I know, yeah, definitely. This is, I can't say controversial, more so just like people like it or people don't, I guess, right? The people on this topic were like, for me, the last couple of years of Dan Slott's run of Amazing Spider-Man, the whole thing, maybe up to ever since Peter got his body back, and out of nowhere, millionaire. From that point to when he left, I'm like, it's crazy because we go from this kid who's basically was supposed to be a resemblance of us when we were younger. You're young, coming, trying to figure out life the way that Spider-Man has been doing, and has this job where he's living day by day, he's living paycheck to paycheck, and he's trying to be a superhero in all those regards and doing these great things. And now you got Doc Ock taking over his body, which was a pretty good series, honestly. But by the way, He takes over his body, and then Peter takes back his body, and now he's a millionaire or a billionaire, and like he's given all these things and all these necessities, and the person that we saw that I saw when I was younger, and that I try to attribute my life, not my life to, but I seen a lot of things in for myself. Like, I can't relate anymore, dude. This dude has like these, really rich freaking problems, man. Like, oh, he still has freaking Mary Jane by his side as a secretary. I'm like, this is very Tony Stark. To me, it felt like, okay, they're trying to make Spider-Man Tony Stark before they did it in Marvel movies. That was what it felt like to me. And the best thing from that whole kind of series was basically the Spider-Man Deadpool spinoff / team up series.
So good.
For me, that was it. It was so good because like this was the Spidey that I knew. He didn't have these problems. He just wanted to have fun, be quirky, have all these quips. And then when you have the clone series saga that happened like 2 years ago, and you have all these other things with Mockingjay, I'm like, this isn't the Peter that I know. And it was just, the writing felt like Dan Slott was already on his way out, and so he just wrote whatever, and it all accumulated into Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 800, where it wasn't great, man. Like, the build up to everything, thinking like, oh, we might have someone die. We might have Mary Jane die. We might have this build up to like, we might have some key characters that, Dan Slott was hinting at, where no one is safe and stuff. Like, prior issues before that, like I think in 792, where 790 something, or they hinted that Mary Jane might be going away because it's a centennial, it's a centennial comic, and that we're gonna have some, consequences. Lo and behold, guess who dies? Flash Thompson.
So
like a throwaway, like, I don't know if it's Marvel or the writers that don't want to take that step of like, okay, let's make this serious then. We'll do this big build up. Let's have so and so die, like someone pivotal in the series.
That's like their go-to.
Yeah, that was used to be, but now like Flash Thompson hasn't done anything in like couple years now, right? They brought him back for that, and I'm thinking like, okay, maybe Venom, maybe you can have freaking Eddie Brock, because I think this was pre DC run, pre Donny Cates run, right? Yeah. Something like maybe that or something, but no, it was Norman Osborn, Carnage, not killing, but like having the death of Flash Thompson. I'm like, okay, this isn't that great.
Build up, and then kind of like wah wah.
Yeah, man. You got one? I got another one, but for me.
To piggyback kind of on what you were talking about, because it really threw me for a loop. Because again, this is why I wanted JR to kind of kick things off on the hate train. I don't want to call it the hate train, but that's what people are going to say. Is I didn't get into the Spider-Man side of things until probably after 800. So I really didn't get to hear, but I did pick up on a lot of people saying like, oh, Dan Slott's an amazing writer. He's doing a great job on Spider-Man, but I never got the whole point of, Peter, regardless of what age he was, whether he was a teenager, 12, 13, 14, whatever years old, with these original powers back when the series started back in the 60s and the 70s, to having to, decide on, whether it be living the life of Spider-Man or have the girl Mary Jane or whatever it was. He had, like I said, he had problems like us. I never understood making him the millionaire. And I didn't get introduced into millionaire Peter Parker until reading Brian Michael Bendis' run. And this is not my hate train one pick, but I was reading Invincible Iron Man Volume number 2, which came out in like 2015, 2016, and Bendis was writing it because it was a tie-in. Some of it was tied into Civil War II, and all of a sudden, like, Parker Industries is taking over Stark. There was no Peter. Parker Industries taking over Stark Industries, and it's like, wait, what? When does Peter Parker have more money than Tony Stark? That's in next to impossible. And I never understood that part. And it did make for an interesting run. That run by Bendis, I'm not, and people will know through this podcast that I'm not a gigantic Brian Michael Bendis fan. But he did do a really good run on that Invincible Iron Man. But what I will do is I will go take us back a little bit into time And let me see if I can find it here on. I'm trying to get my notes on my CLZ collection, and one of the series, because Marvel really went on a run in the gosh darn, like the what's the word I'm looking for, like the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, and had some great runs, kind of all mixed together. Was like they had the original Civil War, they had House of M, Avengers versus X-Men. But one of the ones that really people kind of talked up, and I should have read a little bit more into what people were talking about it, was just that House of M. And of course, that is talking about kind of it's like the evolution and kind of the demise of mutants in the current time. And it's just, I wish I could get more in depth into why, the writer, the artwork. The artwork actually was really, really good. The writing was just so all over the place. It was very inconsistent. It was a lot of, it almost was like you take Quentin Tarantino and how he writes and directs a movie that it kind of jumps all over the place. But a Quentin Tarantino movie can make sense when it does that, even though it'll jump around in time and space. This just was so confusing, so like I said, inconsistent is about the only word I can really describe it. And really and truly, it just led up to the only thing of any value that came out of the series was Scarlet Witch basically losing it and kind of like a la Thanos, kind of snapping mutant existence out of the world, and led to, I think, if I'm not mistaken, House of M came before Avengers versus X-Men, or I can never remember the timeline.
I don't recall. Yeah, I just know that House of M came before. She said no more mutants, and so it was all because, for just reference, it was all because her relationship with the Vision was kind of destroyed. Her kids that she thought she had weren't kids, and so she had this mental breakdown. And there, I understood some parts of it where it was so jumbled up because it was supposed to be some play on her mental state, but like it wasn't really drawn out as well.
No, it wasn't.
Not just on paper, but like just more so like it wasn't. There were so many things you had to. There was at the time there were so many other comic books you had to get to kind of get the whole story, and so like that's gonna be another point for me for another one soon. But yeah, it was the only pivotal thing for me in that one was that you should have no mutants, and then a huge part of the mutant population was just severely just depowered, and so the results of that was cool. They had to do this whole they had to depower everybody because you can't have X-Men, which is Nate Gray running around San Francisco just like fucking changing changing the place around him because of his powers and stuff. So like I get that, but like it was just it was done is but
the idea was okay, and I think it was one of those situations where they put the endpoint, like this is where we need to get to, which is not a bad way of writing in some cases, because we know and go with me on this one, it's a lot of what wrestling uses for storylines nowadays. What pro wrestling uses is they want to get to this end game. How do we get here, and how do we sprinkle in the sizzle in between to get to that steak? And it was just poorly executed. I'd have to do a little bit more research. I forgot who the writer was, but you could tell like there was talent there. It just wasn't executed properly. But House of M, vital to the early 2000s mythos of Marvel. It really ties in to Civil War, AVX, and other storylines in that time, and really does eventually lead to the current slate, which it'll get to a little bit. But I don't know, JR, you could take us down the next road. You want to go whether you want to go positive or negative, or where you want to go?
Can I do a little bit of both?
Go for it.
Like there's one it's a major net negative, but like there's a positive because in it because there was a storyline that they should have like actually hit that wasn't talked about and pissed me off. I'm talking about Civil War #2.
Okay, you beat me to
Civil,
it, so you and I are agreeing on
yeah,
this
let's do
one.
this. Let's do this one. Let's do this one right here.
All
All right, so
right,
Civil War #2 was just
Brian Michael
horrendous.
Bendis.
Brian Michael Bendis did the whole story. Did I think it was only like I think 6 issues or maybe a little bit more than that,
I'm
6 or 7. And let me just drag it up. But yeah, it was. Oh my gosh, Brian Michael Bendis. Like I feel like they're just throwing him money because like, hey, we need a comic book done to go in to coincide with the movie that's coming out.
exactly.
That summer. And it felt very much that. Like that's the thing that I hate that Marvel's been doing lately. Where like they drop everything so it coincides with the movie that comes with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're just destroying good writing from all these other books that now have to do the tie-in type of thing. And
Yeah,
so
it was actually, and you're not wrong. Let me add some context to this. Was that Civil War originally, much like its and I'll bring up Volume 1, which will just spoiler alert, we will talk about. Civil War #1 was a 7-issue series. Now, I think that Civil War #1 also was supposed to originally be a 6-part issue, but was expanded by one book. Civil War #2 was originally always advertised previews and everything. It was going to be a 6-issue book. Something happened in the during the writing of the book. I cannot remember what happened, but they kind of, I don't know if they paused it or and they said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to pause here, rethink the ending to this story. And I think it had something to do with one of the writers or one of the artists leaving. Maybe that's what it was. But they paused it and said, hey, we're not going to get this story done in 6 issues. What can we, and I remember writers talking about how they were having to write from home. I think one of the artists was like, they had just had a baby and was having to do everything from home. So, actually it was funny, you'd normally say that adding 2 issues would be kind of a safety net. No, in this case, it wasn't. It was a hindrance. But yeah, you were right. It was originally supposed to be 6 issues. It actually ended up going to 8, 9, counting issue #0.
Yes, right. It was and not only that, but like originally too, it was supposed to be another Cap versus Iron Man in this take, but this is but because this was after Cap said Hail Hydra, he was not in that mix anymore. And so overall, I get the storyline, but it's very like it's been done before, and to a much better degree. It's funny because like in one of the spinoffs to this one, I think it was either like I think Civil War Choosing Sides, one of those issues, one of the characters says, it's basically like Minority Report, that one movie with Tom Cruise. Someone in the comics says that, right? I'm like, yeah, it basically is. And just how it was cool. I mean, it was drawn beautifully. Some of the covers were really good. And
I'll bring those up right now.
Yeah, it looked really good. It's just that like it was very overblown. Like it took a long time for them to get going. For me. Like the first 2-3 issues was basically Tony and Dan with Carol just kind of arguing over semantics, and that was the main issue. Like, was it a moral decision, right? Who can say this? Who can say you need to be punished for a crime that you didn't commit yet, right? And I get that, I understand that. It's just that the way you can't go 4 to 5 issues, right? And then kill off the Hulk. You can't go 4 or 5 issues in and then 3 issues in and just kill off, Bruce Banner and say that he's actually dead.
And this should tell you right here, this is the same creative team that brought you the House of M. So I think we have similar gripes.
I mean, the good thing about this though was the stories around it. For me, one of the most beautiful and poignant storytelling that I've seen that come from this was I forget who the Hulk was. It was Amadeus Cho, and I was reading a little bit of his story before that, right? Before Civil War 2 came out, and it was your typical like kid who's genius kid who's trying to figure out his way as the Hulk, right? But he's a lot more boastful. He's a lot more prideful and all that stuff. Cool. Then the story hits where Tony dies, and the shift and change is totally different, right? the look of the comic is much different. The art style is much different, and it was a very poignant story for me because like it was basically the kid saw Bruce as an equal, as a friend, as a confidant. He was the Hulk, and Bruce was the Hulk, and Amadeus like, no, you know what? I'm gonna help you cure that, right? I want to cure that. I'm gonna take it in for myself. And then he just found out his friend is dead, his best friend. And so you have the story where Carol then he's staying in a Amadeus is staying with his sister, and they're in a hotel somewhere off in the United States, right? Carol goes to visit him, right? Because she needs to visit the Hulk, right? Because he sees that that his best friend just died, and so you see this kid go to his front door, and Carol Danvers is right there asking how he is. He goes, "You killed my best friend. How do you think I feel?" And then out of nowhere, these just a huge storm of like troopers from side to side look at him, pointing guns at him. He sees it was just so beautifully done. I'm like, we needed this in the book, right? It was to me. Which one was it? It was a dang it, I forgot the book name. Like it was a Hulk book
Was that
with Amadeus Cho in it.
Was it number 3 or is it? Or
Number
was
three.
let me see. I think I just
It
saw
was a
it.
tie-in. Yeah, it
Oh, it
was
was
a
one of the
tie-in.
tie-ins.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was a tie-in book that went
oh
with
my.
it.
Was it?
Yeah, it was Incredible Hulk,
No.
I think.
Oh, it was an
It's not
Incredible
right.
Hulk book. Okay, because I know that they
Yeah,
had there. Where was it at? Kingpin. No, there was I
trying
had
to
it,
find it.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I'll put down some, but like that one, that story specifically just really grabbed me. Let me try to find it right now. And the art style from just that one book was amazing to me. And that was cool. And another storyline that they should have freaking really touched upon during Civil War II was that the second that evil Cap, Hydra Cap, found out that that the Inhumans have someone that can detect the future, he automatically thought, all right, cool. Let me see how I can roll with this, right? Because that if people remember correctly, during Civil War II episode, I think it was the first issue or second issue, where they all have that party at the at Tony's tower
yeah.
in in the uh, in the in the tie-in for for Captain America, right? He had a strike team to kill everybody. It was crazy,
Oh, I do remember that. I just kind of forgot about that, but yeah, that
yeah,
was
yeah. He had a strike team waiting. It's like, all right, cool. This is our chance to basically take everyone out, and we can take over. And then he found out that, oh no, this kid can probably see this coming, so stand down. We'll see how this goes. And then from that point, he was then, which I love the artist, no, the writer who did this, right? He was then taking hold of every or influence every situation that the kid might possibly go through. So everything that Carol Danvers was doing, right, was because was a response to what the kid felt, which Captain America did. That this girl, and I think it was issue 2 or 3, this girl who said to that she has a briefcase that can destroy the economy of United States.
yeah.
That was through Captain America. He did that. And then Danvers basically arrested an innocent woman, and it was because of Captain America. That was a better storyline for me. Like, oh snap! In this side story, Cap is basically kind of shadowing everything and seeing how far can this kid really take this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they should have done that storyline. The big bad in that movie and that whole thing was Captain America then, because he was seeding everything in this.
And that did
And
lead to another storyline, which trust me, we're going to get to. But
yeah.
just to fill in the blanks for JR, the kid that he's referring to is the Inhuman Ulysses,
Yep.
who I believe in the beginning of when there was I think it was in either an issue 0 or it was a tie-in book. It may have been issue number 0, where he's a college student and he
Yep.
is walking out of class, and there is a Terrigen cloud
Yep.
that consumes him. He goes into Terrigenesis. He comes out and he thinks he's an Inhuman, but but initially it seems like no, Terrigenesis rejected him, that he wasn't really an Inhuman, and then his powers began to show themselves, and that he has the ability to see the future.
Yep.
And to tie it in, if I'm not mistaken, I could have gotten the roles reversed, but I think it was Tony Stark wanted to use that to kind of what's that Tom Cruise movie, wasn't it?
No, no, that wasn't Tony. That was Carol.
Carol wanted to use it to preemptive
Yep.
strike crime, a la the movie. I think the
Yep.
movie was called Time Cop back in like the
No,
90s.
no, it was Minority Report. The
Minority Report. That was
yeah.
the Tom Cruise movie. So they wanted to use that, like, you are under arrest for the future crime of whatever. And Tony Stark was like, no, we can't do that. We can't be the judge, jury, and executioner and stuff like that. So it was an idea on paper, and like JR said, like a lot of really good other stories, stuff like that, but it became too convoluted. I do know that it inevitably would lead to a series that I was very excited for, because I thought maybe it would kind of help clean up a little bit of the bad taste that Civil War. Because at first, Civil War II, I was like, it was the first big series that I got into, where I collected every issue. But Civil War II would lead into a lot with, like what JR said, with Hydra Cap, was it led into Secret Empire. And which again started off hot, ended with a fizzle, and they just kind of used it to kind of rewrite the world. Secret Empire, I'm just going to throw this in here because, again, I think the artwork superseded the writing. Was a 10-issue series, so it was almost like its own. It wasn't even an event; it was almost its own run. But what was really cool, and I'm going to bring up some of the artwork here real quick, and I'm going to bring up the split screen here.
Oh, just say the issue I was talking about for Amadeus Cho.
Yes,
was issue 9, Totally Awesome Hulk, issue 9. If you if anyone who reads it, everyone who hears it, dude, check that issue out. Like, actually read issue 5 and 6, and then read issue 7 and 8, and then read issue 9, dude.
And I will tell you this, Totally Awesome Hulk. Totally Awesome Hulk, worth the read in general. I would go and read the Totally Awesome Hulk. It was a good series, but sorry, I wanted to throw that in there with you.
Yeah.
But just kind of, I was going to show you a book. Right here, like I'll use this for example. You got Spider-Man there with the Hydra logo. Secret Empire, real quick, was Hydra Cap. We inevitably find out, spoiler alert, it wasn't the real Steve Rogers. It was kind of I don't even know how to say it, but
I got it technically here. Just to point this out, this part of Steve Rogers, it technically is Steve Rogers.
Yeah,
it's just that like it's the Steve Rogers that we've known up to that point, because when Steve Rogers back in before his run came to be, he was old man Steve Rogers, right? He was old man Steve Rogers, and then he came into contact with the a anamorph, not anamorph, but like a human developed like cube. The cube that happens, right?
Yeah.
I forgot. That cube became sentient and became an anamorphic version. The cosmic cube, right?
Which, and then, by the way, movie fans, is what the Tesseract is kind of based on.
Yeah. And so the cosmic cube turns into a little girl, and then the little girl is being influenced by what's his name? Red Skull. To basically kind of mess with Captain America, right? And so
I forgot about the little girl.
Yeah. When she brings back Captain America, right, to him being Captain America, right, not from old to young again. She kind of messed with his past. She messed with his past to the point like he was always a double agent, right? He grew up in a place where they trained Hydra agents, and then he was gonna assimilate into American culture and become the Captain America we know today. And it was
that's right,
Steve. It was a hard.
They really played with. Yeah, because people don't realize that, and this is where a lot of Cap. And I mean, I just want to show that artwork. So I want to tell a story real quick about Secret Empire. But you're right. To piggyback on what JR said, now I do remember the little girl. They wanted to play on the fact that Steve Rogers, the blonde hair, blue eyed poster child, All American, whatever, but they also used it to tie in that he was the poster child for the Aryan race, which is kind of a tie-in to Nazi Germany. And if I'm not mistaken, in that same storyline where they mess with his past, he actually goes to an academy or goes to like a boarding school, I believe in Germany, with I cannot remember. Oh my gosh, completely drew a blank. Johann Schmidt, who would eventually become the before he became the Red Skull.
Yeah.
And
it was go ahead.
No, was I right? Was it Johann Schmidt or was it somebody else?
Yeah, it was someone like that where like he actually became friend. Like it was Baron.
Oh, it was Baron Zemo,
right?
Baron Zemo.
Baron
You're
Zemo.
right. He was,
and like it was crazy because it's I understand people's hesitation to even think that Captain America could ever be Hydra.
Yeah.
But like it's still Captain America. It's the same. Yeah. It's the same story. Like if who's Superman, if Superman was Red Sun Superman, he's still Superman, but he's just in Russia. This is still Captain America, but he's technically a Nazi, right? Yeah. And like he has the ideals of it. And so when Secret Empire came to be, or even before that, where during the end of the run of Captain America before Secret Empire, he was like, no, we're gonna kill Red Skull. We're gonna destroy all these people because they're not the ideals of what Hydra's supposed to be. Like basically, he's still Captain America. It's just that he's a Hydra agent, and his ideals still translate to that, like wanting to be a pure, the ideals of Hydra. This is what's supposed to be, all these good, great things. It's just that it was just from a fascist side of it, and so when the ideal Captain America came back because of the girl, the Tesseract girl, right? She I still can't put my head around it. Like I still need to reread it again. It's just like, oh yeah, cool. So she basically went in time or went back to memories, right? Saw this person with a big beard that we all saw in issue, I think 6 or 7. Oh, that's Steve Rogers. No, they're both Steve. They're both actually Steve Rogers. It's that literally it's, you flip a coin. The whole idea is like you flip a coin, you can be bad or good. It's just more so where you look, where your position at, where your POV is at at the moment. That was the biggest thing. Like, but
I was saying, and to kind of put some context on the Secret Empire story, because I was going to say, just kind of segueing from Civil War II, which was primarily written by Brian Michael Bendis, which I think was one of the last things he did before. I'll tell you what, he had one last Jessica Jones run before he left into DC. Nick Spencer is the man responsible for Secret Empire. And again, before you send your hate tweets to Nick Spencer is an amazing writer. He has some great stuff under his belt.
He's currently he's doing the run on Amazing Spider-Man, and in that after Dan Slott had just took off. This is the Spider-Man that I knew.
Yeah.
Great writer.
Nick Spencer's an amazing writer, and I want to say I met him once at a Comic-Con, but Secret Empire, I will say this, what I do like about event books like Secret Empire and Civil War is it gives an opportunity to allow people like Marvel to put characters out there that don't get a lot of run. And one of the things that they do in Secret Empire is Hydra Cap takes over Manhattan and puts it under like a very dark, and I don't mean literal, like, I mean, it was literally dark, but it was a very, I don't know how the best way to put it, but it almost kind of like put a spell around Manhattan.
Yeah, it was that.
And it took the combination of Cloak and Dagger to kind of move around some of the characters. And like Dagger was like bringing the lone light to Manhattan. And I just thought it was kind of cool because I hadn't seen Cloak and Dagger, at least in books that I had read, since Civil War I. And even then I was like, that was my first introduction. I had heard of Cloak and Dagger, but that was my first real introduction to seeing them in character form since Civil War I. And I just really enjoyed that part of Secret Empire. But it was a series, I think that I don't know if they had it in their mind when they wrote Civil War II and wrote Captain America, Steve Rogers, but it was their way of getting out of the Hydra Cap.
It was, for me, there were some parts of the book was really well done. Like what was it when I think after issue 2, issue 2, where I forgot who it was, but Captain America was gonna execute one of his friends, right?
Oh,
And like he keep on going back and forth to the cell saying, just say, hey Hydra, man, you'll be fine. He didn't want this guy to die, basically, right?
yeah,
And so when the higher ups of Hydra was questioning Captain America, like, where does your allegiance lie, right? Because of this guy, and this guy, this I forgot which agent it was, but no, you're Captain America, you'll be fine, you'll break out of this. You're Cap. You're gonna, whatever type of mind control or whatever, you'll be fine, because you're Captain America. You'll save us, right? And it's
yeah.
just so it hits on a different level, because like you have someone who saw the greatness of who Cap was, and Cap understood that too, and he executed the guy. And I'm like, damn, that was good. That was like those small moments were really good. And then what's called them? It for people who don't know, the scene in Endgame where Cap
Yeah.
picks up the hammer, that came from Civil War 2. No, that came from Secret Empire, last one, where they find out if Captain America, the idealized Captain America, came back, if he's worthy, he picks up Thor's hammer and proceeds to beat the living hell out of Hydra Cap. And so that's when we figure out, that's the whole moment, like, oh, okay, this is Captain America, he's back. It fizzles, but at the same time, like, all right, cool. So that's where that came from.
Now I will
That's
say
where that's where the from. Yeah.
I will say the best thing that came out of the Captain America Steve Rogers run and the Secret Empire was another scene from Endgame, which was of course the elevator scene where he picks up Loki's scepter and he takes it away from Rumlow and Agent. I can't think of the guy's name, but he leans in and whispers, "Hail Hydra." I thought it was pretty funny, and it was when we went and saw the movie, and I think I've told the story before. When we went and saw the movie, we saw Endgame in the theater with Chick and everyone from the asylum. I was dying laughing, and everyone kind of turned around and looked at me like, "Oh, there's Pillow." Like he's been waiting for this moment, because I think I was like one of the only people that actually bought the Cap, or at least originally bought Cap Steve Rogers off the shelf. Originally, it was a good storyline. I guess we could get off the hate train, because really and truly, like, there's, at least for me, there are some bad runs out there. Like I'll just throw some stuff out there.
Same.
Like Brian, and again, I'm not trying to hate on Brian Michael Bendis, but I will. Brian Michael Bendis' Superman run in DC, terrible. I, even as a Superman fan, wanted to. I mean, Chick had a deal for me. It was a 6-issue connecting cover, the first 6 issues of Superman that he did. 6-issue connecting cover, which I'm a sucker for. All of them individually signed by Brian Michael Bendis for only $100. And it was funny, was Chick, I told her I wanted it. And then when it was supposed to show up, she goes, "Oh, I didn't order it because I didn't think you'd actually want that." And I'm like, "No, you're right. I was going to tell you. I hope you didn't order it."
Yeah.
But some other stuff to throw out there. Oh my goodness.
Frankenstein. Go ahead. Oh, I got one. Frankenstein, Frank Castle, Frankenstein, Punisher.
That just does not sound good.
I mean, if you're into it wasn't even the 80s though. It was like somewhere in like around the 90s, I think, or for something like that, somewhere similar. It was very campy. I'm like, it's not for me, dude. No, that one was pretty bad for me, dude. But yeah, that was the kind of zany side. But like, that's not what I expect from the Punisher. So
there was something that I was collecting a bunch of them, and I kept buying them, and then I finally went, "Nah, Chick, cut it off. Like this, it's not getting any better." And I can't even think of what it is now. It will come to me. But goodness gracious,
there was a Black Panther run a couple years ago that I didn't really get into. I mean, I read a couple of it. I forgot what it was though, but then I was like, nah, that's not for me. It was kind of whack for me. There was one that irritated me was the end of Jane Foster Thor.
Yeah, they kind of fizzled out.
It was the same thing for me before it happened in either Civil War 2 or Secret Empire, where it's like you have this buildup that happened, right? You have this character that is actually pretty well crafted now at this point, right? You have a character who has a crucial illness, right? Where every time she turns to Thor, all the chemo is gone. So she has to start from zero over again. But at the same time, the cancer is way more, way more aggressive every time she turns into Thor. And so Jason Aaron weaved the story of like having a literal sacrificial hero and how she's still hated by Odin for taking over his son's power and the patriarchy fights and all that stuff. And like, no, I'm just Thor. And it was a great story. Her fight against, the oncoming war against Dark Elves had happened.
Yeah.
And then 705 happens. After about 6-7 issues of seeing this different look of like who Jane Foster is, right? Not Thor, but Jane Foster. We got Mjolnir now, who has sentient thought and it could become Thor or Jane Foster, right? And they're talking to each other and all this stuff, and then you think like, oh crap, they might kill her off. They might legit kill her off. This is interesting.
I honestly thought they were going to.
Yeah, 704, 703. I'm like, oh, these are big stakes. Oh, snap, Jason Aaron, these are big stakes. I get it. What happens in 705? You get to that point where like, oh, she might die. Then out of nowhere, you have this weird rant of Odin saying that it was you. You took my son's power. You did all these things. You were to blame for everything. But I forgive you because you did great. So I'm going to let you live. What? What?
And see,
are you serious, dude?
And see, I was gonna go because like I said, mainly was gonna pick like actual like special event stories, but I was gonna pick as like a really good run for people to go out there and buy, especially get it now before it gets crazy expensive. I was going to pick Jason Aaron's run of Thor and Mighty Thor, and I think he did both. I'm trying to pull it up.
Yeah, he did a little bit of Thor. I think he did a little bit of the new Thor, right? But it just kind of irritated me. Like, yo, let her die. Let her pass on. Let her live a good life. Like, she's lived a good life. Like, let her do her thing. But like, I understand it was a point in time where they need more women heroes, right? So you can't kill off Thor.
No.
That's it became a political thing, right? Where like, oh, you can't kill off Thor because you don't want to be known as the company that kills off the first female Thor, right? During this whole movement for women. I get that, but at the same time, that's not what the story called for. She fought for everybody before giving to herself, and then you make her fight more? Hasn't she done enough of your ass? Let her rest, dude. No, well, we'll give her chemo again. Well, dude, at least heal her. You're basically a Skyfather. Heal her, dude.
I honestly thought that's what they were going to do, and to this day, Jane Foster continues to fight.
Oh,
God. No spoilers. Stage 4 cancer.
Oh God.
But yeah, I highly recommend Thor Volume 4, which is written by Jason Aaron, and then of course Jason Aaron. Sorry. And then the Mighty Thor, which I think it's Volume 2 or 3. If you're going to organize it, also written by Jason Aaron. To kind of throw in there too was really done in kind of a very underrated miniseries. It was Unworthy Thor Volume 1, also written by Jason Aaron, which I didn't know because I almost wanted to go in kind of blind and just read it from going going blind and kind of see it for what it was, and don't go in saying, oh, it's Jason Aaron, so it's got to be good, and either be let down or have blinders on and say, oh yeah, it was good, and actually really sucked. Unworthy Thor is a good read. It's about 5 issues long, and it tells you what Thor Odin's son is doing while he's unworthy. And
that was actually a really freaking good storyline, dude.
Oh, it was a great little mini series, and really worth it. So if I could throw in just a bundle real quick, again, Mighty Thor. I think it's number. Let me just double check.
The Mighty Thor run, I think, was like 1 through like
Mighty
4
Thor.
Years, I think.
Yeah, Mighty Thor Volume 2 started in January of 2016, written by Jason Aaron. Then of course Thor Volume what did I say, Volume 4, and
Yeah.
then Unworthy Thor, Volume 1, all worth the read by Jason Aaron. Now, also, Jason Aaron is currently, or did the last Thor run, I believe, not Thor King, just I think it was Thor Volume 5, which
Yeah.
I kind of, did I end up finishing it? I think I did.
I mean, there's some good things. I like everything out of what was the award out of everything
War
out
of
of
the
War of the
Realms.
Realms was decent. War of the
Yeah.
Realms itself, like, okay, for people who don't know, for people after Jane Foster, she comes out of it, right, and she's now Valkyrie. She has her own run again now as Valkyrie.
That was the
And
book that I gave up on. I felt so bad. Valkyrie
yeah,
was not good.
yeah, yeah. It felt like they're just trying to rush back female Thor again because Love and Thunder's coming out, so you gotta have Jane Foster back again. But then this is during a time where where people are harping on Marvel for basically kind of not destroying stories, but like are playing to politics, basically not politics,
Yeah.
but like are playing to a lot of like the perceived standards of today's society, where you should have for every 2 or 3 male runs you have main characters for males, you should have like 5 or 6, right?
Yeah.
That was a time where like we had female, we had woman Thor. That's when we had Black Widow. That's when we had 4 runs of Captain Marvel. That was during the time where Kamala Khan again was Miss America. And so you have all these runs that was like it's good to have them, but at the same time there's no actual story behind it, because you have like Valkyrie, which it's supposed to be, the idea is good.
Yeah.
Again, because you have Jane Foster back, but like the story wasn't really.
It wasn't, it was rushed. Some of the artwork was really good, but Valkyrie was the one I was trying to think of that I kind of gave up on. Stories that I really enjoyed. I'm going to jump into this a little bit. We're going to get on the positive note here. I don't think a storyline really and truly, in my opinion, when you go to an event book, gets any bigger than one of the all-time greatest stories ever told, and that is the Infinity Gauntlet. I mean, top to bottom, writing, artwork. I mean, the splash pages, iconic. Infinity Gauntlet started in July of 1991. It was written by Jim Starlin, pencil work done by George Perez. Cover art on most of it is George Perez. Editor-in-chief at the time is Tom DeFalco. All these guys, you got Ian Laughlin, Jack Morelli, a lot of guys. These are huge names. Are huge names.
Legends.
Absolute legend. Rushmore level of artwork. Now, let me bring up, for those of you who are unfamiliar, you'll familiarize yourself real quick with this legendary run while I tell you a little bit about it. And you can see it there, right, JR?
Yep, I can.
Okay. So we start with boom right there. I mean, just it jumps out at you. The Mad Titan Thanos has his hands on the Infinity Gauntlet. This is what Infinity War and Endgame is loosely based on, where the Mad Titan wants to basically rule the world and impress the living embodiment. Right there, you see it there, the living embodiment of death. He is infatuated. Yep. He is in love with the physical embodiment of death, which is basically Skull and Bones.
Infatuated. That's putting it lightly. Infatuated.
He is in love. And
oh god.
Side note: when the scene in Infinity War where they go to Volmir and they have to obtain the Soul Stone in the movie Infinity War, which, by the way, people get confused. Yes, there is a storyline. There's an actual book called Infinity War, which does involve the Infinity Gauntlet. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Infinity War preceded Infinity Gauntlet. But I could be wrong on my storyline. But anyways, the scene where they go to Volmir to obtain the Soul Stone, when you see that floating kind of cloaked character, I was like, oh my gosh, they are going to introduce death. And then the huge swerve of having it be Red Skull was like, oh my God, like amazing. But again, just show you some of the artwork, familiarize yourself with Infinity War, some of the most iconic. This arguably one of the greatest covers ever. Again, another George Perez cover. I actually have this book signed. George Perez, by the way, could not be one of the cooler guys ever. Just a little name drop flex on you. But and again, this right here, I'll bring up this cover and to kind of tell you about. To kind of tell you a little bit about what Infinity Gauntlet is. Again, Thanos, the Mad Titan, wants to impress the love of his life, the man he is. Again, he's infatuated with, he's obsessed with, he's in love with, he wants to have death babies with the living embodiment of death, and he subjugates his inner circle. I mean, he just like pushes them down to the point where he actually, I think he just like he tormented and I think he turned her almost into a zombie. That is right there, the living embodiment of Gamora right there. Not how we know her today. But I think there's a scene, if I'm not mistaken, the scene that is similar to the one in. What's up?
I don't think that's Gamora. I think that's no, the other one, the sister.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of this. That's Nebula. I apologize. Not Gamora.
It's Nebula. Yeah, Nebula. Yeah, it's Nebula.
That's who I was thinking of. Not Gamora. I was thinking of Nebula. I said Gamora because we think of Nebula as the kind of robotic kind of character.
Yeah.
And
not done. No.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of is Nebula.
Yeah, Nebula was crazy, dude. Nebula in that run, she was crazy.
Oh, she was legitimately crazy, and that's why some people were thinking, are they going to do? Because you notice in Infinity War, of the characters that did not get snapped, two of the quote non-main characters that were left were Rocket and Nebula, and so people were thinking, oh, is Nebula going to be the one who reverses the snap? I think a bunch of really cool parts out of this. I cannot remember who it was. They steal the scene of in Infinity War, Bruce Banner being thrown back to Earth. I think they steal that out of the book, if I'm not mistaken. Is it not Silver Surfer? Who is it?
I can't recall.
Oh my
it was one of the characters. I just forgot what it's called though. I just remember. I forgot who it was.
But they end up going to space. They fight Thanos. None of them can withstand the might of the Mad Titan. He does inevitably snap half of existence out of
not half. Oh,
he does
way more than half.
I think he does like 75.
Three-fourths of this. Yeah.
And we're talking about heavy hitter too, just like in the movie, heavy hitter of characters. And it ended up being that Nebula was the only one that really could, because in the book, Nebula is Thanos' daughter, and much like in the movie, really abuses her. And I think doesn't she kind of manipulate her way, because she's really not a nice person in this book either.
No, it was one of the biggest for me. One of the biggest sins that they've committed, specifically when referencing back to Infinity War, was not having Adam Strange. That was for me, because Adam Strange is originally supposed to be, the Soul Gem in
Adam Warlock.
Adam Warlock. Yeah, apologize. The golden boy of the golden space Jesus, basically. And so they didn't have him, and he originally was supposed to fight off Thanos. And so, if I remember correctly, there was a point, I think, in issue like Infinity Gauntlet, where Gamora did have the Infinity Gauntlet in her hand.
Yes.
It was issue like 4 or 5, I forgot what it's called, and then she fought off Thanos. It was this huge, crazy diatribe. I gotta go read it. I gotta reread it again.
I want to reread it again too. I've been meaning to.
Yeah. It was just it was. You can't go wrong when you got freaking George Perez and Starlin doing books together. You really can't. You really can't go wrong. And that was definitely set precedence to like how crazy these events can get forever, dude. Like, granted, DC had Final Crisis and multiverse universal levels of craziness, but like, yo, Thanos was on the map after Infinity War,
and,
after Infinity Gauntlet. It was
and
insane.
it was a great run too of books, because not only did you have, because he said the Mad Titan just came out of nowhere, and I cannot remember what, because there was a bunch of books. You had Infinity War, which actually, I'm sorry, Infinity War came afterwards. That was in very next summer, and then they tried to really press it in I think it was in '93 with Infinity Crusade, which kind of kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
But they did have the original introduction of Thanos. Actually, was in a oh my gosh, I can't remember what book it was. Wasn't it like a Blade Runner? But it was like it was in a
No. It was a certain Logan's Run.
Logan's Run.
It was Logan's Run. It was like issue 14 or something like that. Let me go check it real quick. It was the first issue of Thanos there. First appearance of Thanos. It was some weird offbeat book, man, that was given a long time ago. I remember that Javelle actually gave that away a couple of times too.
Yes,
So
he did. I was this close to getting it. But one of his first, the Mad Titan's first real books was Thanos Quest, which came out in January of 1990. I actually was able to grab that 2-issue series right before San Diego Comic-Con last year and got it signed by Ron Lim, who, by the way, total cool guy. If you ever have a chance to meet Ron Lim, he's total chill guy, and almost got a really good Gwenpool book out of him for free. But no.
Before you say that, Logan's Run, issue 6.
Issue 6. I was thinking number, when you said 14, I was like, I think it's number 4, but no, you're right, it's number 6.
Yeah.
But it's like so random. Like, Logan's Run book, and it's what?
It houses the probably the most precedent villain in all of Marvel, basically. Okay, just some one-off book.
Yeah, but I would say the big bad of Marvel to this day, you can make an argument for Galactus, the Eater of Worlds, but the Mad Titan, Thanos has everything: the brains, the bronze, the power. Because you look at him, you look at the physical embodiment of Thanos, and you think this guy could go and single-handedly do. He's the bad Hulk. I mean, he can go in there and just terrorize the world. But he's just like, he's a manipulator, and he'll go like, you go do it. Like, he has his minions to go do it. And again, to go back to the movie side, and we'll do a whole episode again in the future on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Josh Brolin really did do a good job at voicing and bringing Thanos to life. But highly recommend. Highly recommend Infinity Gauntlet, that whole run, as well as Infinity War. But if you're what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of a I'm not too sure about comic books. Go out and get the trade paperback of Infinity Gauntlet, and I think it will really give you an idea of where they were trying to go with the movies, and give you an idea of where Marvel really, oh my gosh, just hit their strides. And Jim Starlin, so good.
Let's just say the Marvel movies specifically, they made Thanos a pragmatic. He's practical in the movies. In the comics, he's selfish. He's a totally different beast. And to segue off of that, I'll actually just kind of give a good shout out. One of the, in my opinion, the better instances of like who we see Thanos as a character, Donny Cates run of Thanos.
Yes.
He beats everyone. Thanos beats, like, he'd be like, I think it was going on from issue 1 up until the point where like he kind of just, I think it just stopped after that.
Yeah.
Like he was insane. Like he beat everybody without the Infinity Gauntlet. Like he gets thrown, like Thanos gets thrown into the future where he meets his future self, King Thanos, and he says like, yeah, I beat everybody. Like, what do you mean beat everybody? I beat everybody. I beat all the Celestials. I beat all the Celestials. I beat all the X-Men, all the Avengers. I beaten, killed every like transmorphic being in history. I've beaten Galactus, right? They had that pivotal scene of Galactus, right, looking like Cable, right, with a huge heavy cloak and a gun, right, looking like Cable. I'm like, you got the Eater of Worlds looking like Cable, dude. And like, yeah, and he beat everybody without the Infinity Gauntlet. That was a crazy, insane run,
and people
which
don't realize, like,
introduced, yeah,
yeah, as I say, people don't realize
that
Thanos does not need the Infinity Gauntlet to put some ass whooping down.
That's because of Donny Gates. Like, you oh God, I love that man.
Oh
but yeah,
my gosh,
I love that man so much. Okay, so like, yeah, he introduced Donny Gates, also introduced in the character Cosmic Ghost Rider, which I still kick my ass over because like I could have went to JaVale. That was November. It was canceled. It was my sister's birthday, and I was paying off some other stuff for her. But like, I literally could have been there 2 months prior, right? And said, "Oh, Fans 13, I like it, right?" I saw this issue of of this amazing like variant cover of Thanos, right, looking to Gauntlet, right, his Infinity Gauntlet. Like, oh, that's sick. That's only 25 copy. That's only one for 25. I could put down money. I could put down some money for that one, and I just didn't. And now that freaking cover is like $1,000. I'm like, I'm kicking my ass over it, and like the regular first issue prints, right, are like $100, dude, for first appearance of Cosmic Ghost Rider, man.
So many moments where you want to kick yourself in the butt. Just to kind of throw out, I'm going to go rapid fire on a couple of other ones because, like I said, we've done some in depth on these series, and I'll just kind of go rapid fire. Go ahead.
One last good one.
Go. No. You do your last good one, and then we'll rapid fire. I'll do some rapid fire because I could tell you, I got a list.
Yeah. Let me do my quick rapid fire for me. Batman White Knight series, the White Knight series.
And if that's Sean Murphy, right?
Sean Gordon Murphy, another man crush for me. That might literally be for me. That's my Dark Knight. That's my Dark Knight Returns of this era. For me.
Yeah.
Guy Country, Kate's as well. Venom, current Venom run. Extremity, which is an Image comic. Image Comics. Dude, Jonathan Hickman's run of Powers of X and House of X to bring back all the X-Men. Mwah. But for me, I think one of the really last good ones is Deadpool Volume 4 for me.
Ooh.
And we get all the zaniness in there because it's Deadpool, but like one of the best commentaries of who Deadpool is, because Deadpool is super meta,
Ooh, I don't have any of those. Breaking.
Really?
No, that was right before I started collecting.
Yeah. This is before the whole Secret Wars arc that came to be, and Battle Worlds, where you have this crazy freaking planet where Doom is God Doom. It's crazy. It's insane. And then, but like before that, the Deadpool run was actually was hitting a stride at that point. It was really hitting a stride, and the last issue of that run basically epitomizes, who Deadpool is as a character, and he has his meta commentary where he. Okay, just follow me on this, right? Just follow me, because this is how crazy this is. So Deadpool in issue 24, 25, he goes and steals. Thanos comes to Earth on his Thanos helicopter.
What?
Follow me. Thanos comes to Earth on his Thanos helicopter, literally called the Thanos helicopter. Deadpool jumps onto it, where Thanos has the Infinity Gauntlet. And then Deadpool steals the Infinity Gauntlet from Thanos.
Who, by the way, should never have the Infinity Gauntlet. Deadpool should never have it.
It's crazy. So he steals so Deadpool steals the Infinity Gauntlet, right? He's in New York, and he snaps his fingers, and then like he has this crazy meta commentary of like, oh, you know what? It's the last issue for me right now. So I'm gonna have everybody in the Marvel universe come and see my comedy club, and so it's the roast of Deadpool.
Oh my god!
It's the roast of Deadpool, where everybody roasts him while he roasts everybody. So you have everybody that ever came into existence of the Marvel comics, and they're all lying this whole thing, and they're roasting Deadpool. And then Deadpool gets super serious. Like people are just continue laughing and figuring out, like, you have Cyclops and you have Wolverine, who is crazy enough, just a couple issues prior, they died, right, in the Marvel continuity, because what's called Avengers vs. X-Men with Phoenix Force happened at that time.
Yeah.
And so people died. You had Professor X. He was there, but he died. And so He brings everyone together, and they all just start laughing at Deadpool because he's being honest about his life. Like, oh yeah, you guys can just roast me all you want because the government took away my kids, and I can't have a happy life, and I can't have all this, and they're just laughing and laughing and laughing at him. And he looks at you, the reader, and he goes, "You're the reason why I'm this way. You. I can't be happy because you need me to be sad. I'll always be depressed because you need me to be that way. I can't have my kid because of you." And then he throws on the gauntlet. Everybody, he snaps back in time in the Thanos helicopter to give his gauntlet back to him, right? And so this is
Thanos
after
helicopter. I forgot about that. So stupid.
It's insane. And so this was during the contingency time where two worlds will collide with each other. So the Marvel 616 is gonna collide with Ultimate Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Universe. They're colliding each other. And so one of Deadpool's last moments was basically him hugging his kid on a pool on a jet, or not jet, a boat, basically this huge yacht.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I'm just gonna spend it with the people I love because this is literally the only time I'll have it. This is the only time you'll let me, right? He sees you as the reader. This is the only time you let me, and the only moment in time he has it when the world fucking collides into each other. To me, that was super poignant because it's crazy in a commentary of like, Deadpool will never be happy because you don't like when he's happy. The book is boring when he's happy.
Yeah.
And that's how it's transitioned into Volume 5, where he has now all this money before, and he's bankrolling the Avengers. And it was cool to me because Deadpool was always a character I rooted for, especially when he was down the dumps, and he was this crazy meta commentary character where he just talked about issues. And I love that. I loved it, dude.
We kind of hit on kind of a couple more because, like I said, I really enjoyed Civil War, the original Civil War. I wanted to kind of throw it out there. We kind of hit on it a little bit already. Just really cool, and it kind of it does kind of bring into current kind of like the word I'm looking for. It really kind of brings into current what's going on in the world about we need to have certain aspects of authority in check. That there shouldn't be so much power being given around. And again, the social commentary on Civil War I, really, really good. And really can tie into that. And don't take this to be a slant either way, a political slant. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a anti-cop person or anything, but I'm just saying is that there are certain aspects that certain power needs to be put into check and whatnot. So really, at its core, the social commentary of Civil War I, really, really good. And I think they had a really fun time with it in the movie version. But again, I really enjoyed Avengers versus X-Men. I think we could probably do a whole episode on that. I thought that was really, really fun. I think it gets dumped on because people are like, oh, it was just kind of like the Avengers. Some people go like, oh, the Avengers should have just wiped the floor with the X-Men. Some people say the X-Men should have just wiped the floor. I think that's what's kind of cool about it. They tell a good story about the Phoenix Force, but really kind of a rapid fire, some really good books that you should go out there that kind of are not off the cuff. People know that I'm a Gwenpool fan, so yeah, Unbelievable Gwenpool was a lot of fun, but I'll leave that to the side. A lot of really cool books to go read. JR, you hit on it earlier. The Spider-Man Deadpool series has been absolutely amazing. I think it's actually finally did end. I think it was after 50 issues. An amazing series. The Deadpool versus books have all been really, really fun. Highly recommend Deadpool versus Old Man Logan. Deadpool versus Black Panther was so good and so witty, and it's again a good breath of fresh air. But if you want to get into
I like Deadpool versus Gambit. That one was a funny one for me, man. I love that. That was a good one for me.
I do want to get to that one. I kind of missed the boat on that one. Deadpool versus Punisher was actually really good. It told a good story. And all of the Deadpool kills books, Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe again, Deadpool kills Deadpool. I mean, that all those books, it really goes to show you the mental state of Wade Wilson and
Mm-hmm.
his dealing with his inner demons and what he has to deal with, his what he knows. You know, obviously his meta fourth wall breaking. He knows that he exists in this, but he also is a character that deals with mental illness as well as physical illness.
I mean, he talks to his speech bubbles. He talks to his speech bubbles. So
it's so great. It's so great.
I love
and just
it
to
so
show
much.
you that this is not a complete hate train of Brian Michael Bendis, I will say this till the day I die. Arguably one of the best written series ever, period, was Alias. So good. Brian Michael Bendis writing, Michael Gaydos doing the artwork inside, and David freaking Mack. The cover work, to steal one from JR. You cannot go wrong. All of them, this is a book where everyone was on their A game. And it's just from beginning to end, told the story of a character that had never been introduced before, but introduces her in a way that makes you think like, hey, how come I've never heard of this Jessica Jones character before? Like, I just like, where did she make her first debut? I'm like, no, issue number 1, Alias number 1. That's her first appearance of Jessica Jones. And people go like, Brian does a great job at just throwing her out there, but making you think, oh, this character's existed for decades. And he did the same thing with Miles Morales, did a great job. But Bendis and Gaydos tell a story. They work so well off of each other. So beautifully done. The book came out in November of 2001. You talk about a rough era to deal with a character like the Purple Man, who is essentially not a terrorist that we know him as, but such an evil character that just is, I mean, unbelievably evil, to deal with in that era where we don't need a lot of bad guys, especially really dark, evil bad guys. We need some fun and frivolity. We need some campiness. And Brian Michael Bendis I got to imagine he probably looked at when that book came out. I mean, we're talking about a month after, or 2 months after 9/11. And he did good, so good. It's a 28 issue run, so good, worth the buy. I got lucky a couple of years ago that Chick had the entire run for a really good price, and I got it. And I've had the ability to get David Mack to sign most of the books, but I know that was going to be my quick hitter, but I had to go on that one.
Good.
Another one you mentioned, and it made me think. I'll go rapid fire on this one. All new, all different. Ghost Rider. That's not.
It was the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider.
Yeah. So the Ghost Rider. Let me see if I can bring it up in my CLZ books here. All new Ghost Rider, which comes off the heels of Ghost Rider Volume 7, is the actual number of it. So Ghost Rider number 7 is a short series written by Felipe Smith, who, by the way, another cool guy that I met. Highly recommend it. And then All New Ghost Rider, both of them are the Robbie Reyes. I'm sorry, take that back. All New Ghost Rider was first. That came out in May of 2014. And then Ghost Rider Volume 7 was the follow-up series. And that one got cut off due to budget constraints. Really unfortunate. It was really good. But All New Ghost Rider, highly recommend. That came out in May of 2014. Felipe Smith, good writer. Also good artist, too. So, again, those are my two rapid fires. Ghost Rider, or All New Ghost Rider, and Jessica Jones, Alias. What you got, bud?
For me, I already said my stuff, man. Extremity. Like we gotta have an issue. We gotta have an episode where we just talk about, like, I would love to talk about just nothing but like indie-esque titles, right? Not a part of just Marvel and DC. Even though Image technically is part of the big three now, like there's still, for me, the only runs that can ever like even hit anywhere near Marvel's numbers was, of course, Walking Dead and Saga.
Yeah.
And after that one, maybe Savage Dragon here and there, but like other than that, man, it's just this revolving door of like just constant artists and creators who trying to just do their run and just get out, which is cool. And so I would love to do an episode where we just see where some of the really really good like Image Comics / indie comics that have been out. But yeah, for me, God Country. Yeah, for me, God Country, Donny Cates. That's like one of the first things that came out. God Country 1. Extremity from the man, from my like one of my personal legends, man, Daniel Warren Johnson. I love his art style. He has written and drawn that freaking thing, dude. I love his art style, dude. What else? Yeah, I already said again, Powers of X, House of X, anything basically from John Hickman right now. I love that run. And then another good one, which is supposed to be hopefully gonna be a movie, is called what is it called, dude? No, it is a.
There's so many properties getting bought up right now.
Yeah, it was basically. I gotta find it now. Oh man, it's gonna bother me. It's an Image run comic where a guy was going to kill himself, but then he is saved by a demon. And in order for him to live, right? Because he kind of had second thoughts about committing suicide. Like this demon saved him, but in order for him to live day by day, he has to kill one person.
Oh shoot!
Yeah, man, it's bothering me now, dude. I should have found that one.
That was to say for a second there, I was thinking that was I can't think of the name of the Marvel series. There's a Marvel guy that was the same way. He's a serial killer, but he goes to like a shrink or something like that. And
you're talking about Moon Knight?
No. Moon Knight's. Oof, we could do a whole episode on Moon Knight.
I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait for that series to come out. Oh my gosh!
I want to know who they're going to cast. I want to know who they're going to cast as Steven's. Mark Spector.
Yeah.
Do you got a mail call or a pull list this week? Dude, my pull list was my wife's birthday present. She got the Mighty Thor issue number 412, which was the first appearance of the New Warriors. And she also got a really cool variant cover from a Thor run from the mid-teens of 2000. So shout out to Chick for the cool birthday present.
Yeah.
I do have a mail.
Okay.
I do have a mail call. I placed a little eBay order. I had to get a part for my car, so I figured, why not buy a couple little books. I think what we'll have to do an artist, like an artist only episode.
Heck yeah. Dude. Absolutely.
I've really become a fan of this artist because she dares really, to use a cheesy phrase, dares to be different. And that is Marie Levette, who is best known for doing the artwork for Faithless and Heartbeat. And here is one of her early books from Black Mask Comics. Talk about a really obscure indie cover, but this is the issue called "There's Nothing There." This is issue number 3. Just really kind of cool cover. Cool. And again, her style is very unmistakable. And then you can kind of tell the what she likes to draw. And here's issue number 4 of There's Nothing There. Borderline NSFW. But again, Maria, and really cool with the fans too. Obviously, I believe she lives over, I think she lives somewhere over in Europe. I don't think it's France, but I know that she lives over in Europe and does not do the con scene here in the US, which is really unfortunate because I would love to meet her and get some books signed and really kind of pick her brain on what she does. But again, if you're a fan of that kind of artwork, I highly recommend Faithless, Heartbeat, and there was another book, and I can't remember what it was. And all those obviously Faithless issue or volume 2. But she's done a handful of books, and I've had a chance to pick them up. And again, mail call, hashtag. I'll have some stuff posted, hopefully on Instagram sometime this week. I'm way behind on posting. But did you have a mail call or?
I do actually. Oh, and it's also just to kind of piggyback off what I said earlier. I found the book. It's called Kill or Be Killed from Image Comics.
Kill or Be Killed. Okay.
Yeah, dude. That one, I loved it so much, dude. It's a 20 issue run. It came out in 2016. I have like
Okay.
Yeah, I have 3 issues. I have three issues of issue one. No, 3 copies of issue one. Yeah. So yeah, it's supposed to be coming out. It got bought up like a while ago, and it's supposed to be coming out hopefully on Netflix or something like that. But then the property were made, so I'm hoping they pull off some good stuff for that one. But yeah, I got a mail call in. I not mail call, but like I got my pull in. I got a lot of stuff I'm kind of sorting through. But the big ones,
Ooh.
the
And you
big
know
ones that I
when it's a
got was
big one
actually
from JR, it's a biggie.
yeah. Yeah. So this is the first one. Oh, you can't see because I got glare, man. Let me see. This is I forgot her name. I try to get that glare out of here, but let me try it. There you go. Her. It's a Lucy Prio. Oh man, how do I do this one? Just take this light off.
The downside of.
I know. I try to get.
I think
get that
we've kind of gotten the gist of it.
Yeah, I can't really show too much of it because all that. But yeah, it's Lucy Prio. It's I think Chastity one, or it's I forgot what it's called. And then let me try to make my screen darker. Maybe that's the reason why the glare is there. There you go. There you go. Negan
Oh,
lives.
you suck. Oh,
The silver version.
I got to the store at like 11:15 on Wednesday, and they were gone. Not one issue.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
you're the one. You got the goal, dude. That thing is skyrocketing right now.
Dude, yeah, I've been actually trying to scour, right? Scour the valley. I went to of course Chicken DeVos, Comic Asylum, and then I went I went to Comic Asylum, and then I tried checking I tried calling Interstellar. He didn't get his stuff. Yeah, he didn't get his stuff in.
Dude, I feel so bad for that guy.
Yeah, man.
Don't let that. By the way, don't let that be a hindrance. He's had a rough couple of months. Just bought that store this year, and really and truly, Diamond and whoever delivers Diamond to him has really kind of screwed him over. But dude, please go support Interstellar Comics. That dude needs some love over in Palm Springs. I don't care where we are, dude. Yeah. And if you ask nicely, if you don't feel comfortable going out shopping, if you put in a decent enough order with him, like he'll hook you up.
You can bring it out to your car. Yeah. Also, I went to Desert Oasis. George was there, and they had their copies there.
I should have gone. I should have ran over there, but I only had a certain amount of time to go out shopping.
Yeah, it was. I saw the prices right. I got a really good price from Chick Shop, right? Really good price, right? And then I went to George's place, right? Because originally I was supposed to pick this up for somebody else, right? You know who? I was supposed to pick up someone else. Like, no, I'll keep it now, right? I went to George's place, dude. Double what I paid.
Jeez.
And I get it though because I see online like, I got it for way cheaper. I beat it for way cheaper. Yeah. Those are my my mail calls. I got some other stuff here, but let me see. Wait. Here we go. Y'all know how big of a Venom fan I am, right?
Of course.
And the current Donny Cates run, right? So I was just pulling this stuff out because I'm gonna send this to CGC. And first issue of Null, right?
Ooh.
Right? First issue Null.
I remember when that issue came out. Wasn't there a alternate cover of it? Copies.
Oh, dude, those are going for crazy now too. Actually, yeah.
I think
it was if you picked up the third, dude. If you picked up the third print ring, it's Venom, volume 3, issue 3, the C cover, second printing or third printing, right? That has Null on his throne. That's going for like just a raw going for like $150 right now, dude.
Well, there was that one, but there was because that book that you have is that number 7 that you just showed?
3.
Okay. There was a book that came out. I think it's issue number 7 of volume 4.
Mm-hmm.
That has we had no idea, but there was, and let me pull it up real quick, and we'll wrap things up here real quick. Let me bring that up here. This is the book that I'm talking about. Boom, hit share. That is the book.
Oh, yeah.
And there were 2 versions of it. There was one like this, and then there was one where the tongue isn't hanging out. And I think
no, that's the one. The regular one with the tongue not hanging out, and that's the variant right there.
That's the variant. And
that's the variant.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing is nobody knew this. Even Javel didn't know. And so I was interning at the shop, and they just there was about 3 or 4 issues like this sitting on the shelf. Not even special stickered or anything, just sitting on the shelf because no one knew, because they just quickly because it's just so slightly different. And I remember there was only like 1 or 2 left. I think they had 12 issues, and half of them were one, half or the other. But they look similar. But I think I said the tongue's out on one, the tongue's not on the other, and the tongue was the really hard to find variant. Yeah. So I went over and I grabbed one and bought it real quick. And then it was funny was Javel called and said, go grab all the Venom books off the shelf right now. Don't sell anymore until I figure this out. And so we went and grabbed them. I think there was 1 or 2 left of the odd variant, and he had to re-sticker them. And so there was a couple of people that got away with some steals, self included. So, but if you guys have any other ideas of stuff that you want us to cover, we look forward to any recommendations. We wanted to kind of keep this one a little short and sweet, but we went slightly over our budgeted time frame. But who cares? We had fun telling you guys about some cool books. And I hope we informed you guys on stuff that will help you get into reading some books that maybe they're important, but don't go in with low expectations. But anyways, I had fun doing this. Again, this is not a hate. I know we call it the hate train, but it's not. We're not hating on anybody. Brian Michael Bendis. Every writer has some hits and misses. We talked about Jason Aaron is not a perfect writer. Nick Spencer, not a perfect writer. There are a lot of times they write the best they can with subject matters that they don't work. The great Donny Cates, maybe he doesn't hit a home run every single time. I figured JR was going to go like, don't you disrespect the great name.
No, there was some stuff but
Stan Lee didn't strike gold every single time. So anyways, if you guys have any recommendations, leave them in the comments below. Hit us up on social media and let us know what you want us to cover. And maybe we will do some more independent stuff and whatnot in the future. But I think that about wraps us up. Again, hope you guys had a great 4th of July weekend, and hope everyone was safe and whatnot on this Independence weekend. And anything else to wrap us up there, Mr. JR?
No, not necessarily, guys. Thank you again very much, as always, for just supporting the podcast, supporting us, man, and just thank you for all the likes and all the comments y'all make, good or bad, man. We've taken everything in, guys. Thank you very much. Continue to support us, guys. I do know that we want to talk about more of this stuff, man. I would love to do a image specific podcast where we talk about all the great stories from there. But other than that, man, we're cool. We're Yahtzee right now, bro.
All right, man.
This, again, one last time, this is Dark King, aka JR Kapakuman, aka Dark King, and that is
I am the voice of reason, Kevin Pillow. And again, give us your comments below, what you like, what you dislike. We'll read them if we get some comments below. But other than that, have a great week, and we will see you next week with more PS Comics. I love you.